And one day I saw a red car that was a Ferrari. I didn't know it was a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I asked my dad, like, I questioned him, hey, like, well, why are you so bad? Like, why do you drive this car and we live where we live? Like, how come we don't live here? And then he said, because it's not for us. And then that's when I realized that we weren't rich.
Yeah.
I realized, like, man, we're not. I thought we were poor. We weren't poor. We were like middle class. But what's the difference between middle class and poor?
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man. And then he said, well, if you work really hard and you never quit, then one day you might have it. So then that stuck. And then I always said, you know what? One day we're going to have this. And I just went on, and that motivated me to work hard.
And you were already thinking about this when you were 6?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Limitless CEO Podcast. Another day in paradise. Today we have a different setup. We're here at Sunset Towers at the 6th floor penthouse with Albert Preciado, $500,000 studio. He's the owner of Conquer, Ambiance Realty, the mortgage guys, driven funding, driven capital, driven events, and driven merch. But with no further ado, please introduce yourself, and thank you for the space.
Hey, no, thank you for having me on your show, and really proud of you. You're taking action, you're doing the work, and it takes time to build something big, a podcast, your business. But yeah, I mean, I'm just an entrepreneur, just like yourself, and I started my first company was a mortgage company.
Yeah,
because my parents always wanted to get a house when I was 6, and I remember this is like 1990. I'm 6 years old. And
wow.
My parents hired the wrong realtor,
right,
and the wrong loan officer.
Wow.
So they didn't qualify them right. And my parents did qualify.
Yeah.
They had like 40 grand saved up, and they were buying a house that was like $85,000. They almost had a 50% down payment, so they qualified.
Yeah.
For a fact.
Yeah.
But they were working with a referral realtor and loan officer from family friends.
Wow.
So you know that, like, usually you hang out with the people that are like you.
Yep.
So, you know, my parents were new here to the States, hardworking. So most of their friends didn't really understand, weren't knowledgeable about real estate. So They got referred to a horrible realtor, horrible loan officer, and their dream never became a reality. I remember we would go see houses in Burbank. You know Burbank?
Yeah.
Burbank is now, you don't find a house there for less than $1 million.
Yeah.
So Burbank is really nice in the valley, nice area. And homes were $85K back then, 1990. So I remember I would go with my parents to see homes.
Yeah.
And the realtor wouldn't show up or would get there late, so we would have to break into the house to look at the house. So I would go in through the little hole.
You used to break in the house?
Well, I would break in because you know some of the houses before they used to have like the dog little hole where you go in.
Yep.
So I would go in through there and open the house, and we would see the houses. So long story short, they never bought a house in Burbank for $85K, which would now be worth, they would be multi-millionaires just for the house right now. And they had almost 50% down payment. And these uneducated, horrible realtor, loan officer, that combo that helped them, didn't help them, and their dream was crushed. So then I remember when I got into real estate, I was, one of my drives for it was, you know what? I'm gonna help people like us that don't understand business, don't understand real estate, minorities, Latinos that, you know, they're just clueless and they get ripped off a lot. And I said, I'm gonna help them, and I'm not gonna let them let their dreams sink like it happened to us back then. So that kind of motivated me to also go and get into mortgages, and I happened to start as a realtor. Then I went to mortgages. And that was the first business, but I just winged it, and I made so many mistakes, and I was just kind of going out of business every other week.
Yeah, every other week?
Every other week, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, that's kind of cool how you went and you took all this company to the next level. And I think everybody knows you now, like everybody in LA. I talked about you a lot, and they're like, yeah, Albert Preciado, I know Albert Preciado. So it's kind of cool how you're so influential, and like everybody knows you. But how did you get started, like from the beginning? How is your story like as growing up as a child? Because I know you were a painter.
Yeah.
Like I was a painter. And unfortunately, like you said, like we don't have a mentor. You stick around with the same people, family, friends from school. And I painted since I was 12. And that really brought me into your circle. And what is it like growing like Albert Preciado when you're small? going out to. I heard the story about Bel Air. You saw the Corvette or a Ferrari, red Ferrari.
Yeah.
And something about like something. What was your purpose or?
Well, you met my dad, right?
I did.
Jose? Jose Preciado. So
my dad's Jose as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You copy me, man. Are we also from the same year? You're a little younger than me.
I'm younger. Yeah.
So by a little bit, because I'm 26. I look 26, but I'm a little bit experienced. But I beat you by 6 years because I started painting at 6.
Yeah.
So 1990. That's when I started going with my dad. He would take me to the houses that he paint. Because he used to paint Bel Air houses, Beverly Hills houses, like really expensive homes because he worked for a company under some guy named Fred.
Yeah.
And they used to have all of these nice areas. And my dad was just a worker. So he didn't own the company like you. He was just a worker and he would get paid hourly. And I mean, he wouldn't make a lot of money. But he started getting jobs from some of the clients because they started telling him, hey, you know what? I like the way you work. I don't like all the other painters. Jose, you're very good at what you do. Can you come on the weekends and we'll pay you like triple? And so he would go on the weekends, and that's when he would take me with him, and then I would help him, and he would make me sand because obviously if I paint, I'm gonna kind of mess it up. So I would be the sander. So I would sand, and it was like the happiest times of my life. I would be sanding the walls, and then he would paint the corners and the sides, and I would get the roller, and then I would use the roller to paint. So I would do that, and then I remember he would give me like 20 or 40 bucks. I don't remember the exact amount, but I was happy. I was making 20, 40 bucks a day. And then we would, the owners would let us get in the pool. We get in the pool, and one day I saw a red car that was a Ferrari. I didn't know it was a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I asked my dad, like, I questioned him, hey, like, why are you so bad? Like, why do you drive this car and we live where we live? Like how come we don't live here? And then he said, because it's not for us. And then that's when I realized that we weren't rich.
Yeah.
I realized like, man, we're not, I thought we were poor. We weren't poor. We were like middle class, but what's the difference between middle class and poor?
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, and then he said, well, if you work really hard and you never quit, then one day you might have it. So then that stuck. And then I always said, you know what? One day we're going to have this. And I just went on, and that motivated me to work hard.
And you were already thinking about this when you were 6?
Yeah. Well,
that's amazing.
The 20, 40 bucks that I would get on Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes when we had school break, like spring break or things like that, I would go with him during my breaks. Like I didn't want to stay home, and I wanted to go work. So I started saving the 20, 40 bucks, 20, 40 bucks, 20, 40 bucks. And then I started buying like Jordans, and I used to go and flip them in the schools. And then I was really good with computers. So then I started buying, I started making music videos, like not music, CDs, like mixes, like hip hop and R&B and house music, and I would sell those CDs to kids in school. Yeah. And then after that, the Sega Dreamcast came out, and I found out a way online to make illegal copies.
Yeah. So like LimeWire back in the days.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But there was a trick where you would get I had a CD-ROM, CDRW, where I would copy CDs. So I would copy the DVD games of the Sega Dreamcast. Yeah. And then you copy them, but then you had a dummy CD. So you would put in the dummy CD, close it, it would turn, spin. Then you would have to open it and put the copy, and then it would bypass the security check for the copied games. Yeah. So I would sell one game for $10 or 10 games for $70.
You already had it in you.
Yeah. So that's why I always say I was an entrepreneur since I was 6, because I was always selling stuff. I always wanted to sell. And I learned that because I had to convince my parents every single time on what I wanted. Like my dad was like one of the biggest, my biggest close was closing him on buying me Zelda, the gold game. So the Super Nintendo had a gold Zelda game. Yeah. And it was gold, and it was like $75 when they came out. And I remember $75, and I remember that I kept on telling him, I want the Zelda game, I want the Zelda game. Yeah. So I would be so persistent that I would push so hard on my parents till they almost like had a heart attack, or they said yes. And I would close them. So then I would be a closer in school. I would close kids like, hey, you want 10 games? I'll give you 10 games for the price of 7. Yeah. You want to take the deal? And I would fucking close them right there. Yeah. I'm like, I always been a closer in the business guy.
Put the pressure on them?
Yeah, I put the pressure on them. And I said, it's the deal is only for right now. Like, you take it right now because tomorrow the deal's not going to be here. Plus, I'm going to sell out, and I'm not going to have any more games till further along.
Yeah. So you were always competitive, curious, and interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was also because I was very insecure, and I couldn't get girls growing up. I didn't speak English, so I just knew a few words, and I would have to hustle. And I was just a hustler. I would buy games. I would flip him. I would buy Jordans, flip him, and that was just me.
And this was back in the middle school, high school?
Elementary school, middle school, and high school.
Yeah.
But I hated school, but I did make some money in school.
Nice.
That's the Zelda game, see? Yeah, that's the one.
Shit. I used to play that one too.
Yeah. No, that was a good game.
Yeah, crazy. So what was your first job? Or how did you get into sales? Like your first job that so before doing your actual business?
Yeah, so when I painted I painted with my dad when I was, a kid.
Yeah.
And then eventually when I went to high school, I kind of started figuring out that school was not for me.
Right.
Because I hated school first, and then I wanted to make money. And then I remember that when I went to college for a little bit, I dropped out. And I didn't even graduate on stage for high school. I was mailed a diploma because my GPA was so bad.
Wow.
That they mailed me my diploma. I had a 1.8 GPA. And the only subjects that I got A's, because I got fails and D's. Mm-hmm. I had a D average, I think.
Yeah.
But I did get some fails. Obviously, I had enough to pass, but it was always like D's, and a few fails. The only subject that I got A plus on was math.
Yeah.
So math was one of them, and I remember there was and PE. So PE and math, I was like super good. I was into sports and I was good in math. And when I went into college, I realized, man, you're not gonna make money here, because the only way to make money is if you become an attorney or an attorney or a doctor, and that's gonna take over 8 years. And I said, I don't have time to waste. Yeah. So then I met a girl from Colombia, like a Colombiana Mexicana girl.
Yeah.
And then
in
college, yeah. So I started going out with her, and I remember that she introduced me to her brother, and her brother owned a mortgage company.
Yeah.
So I went to his house, and it was like a nice house in the hills, it was in Glendale Hills, and it was a nice house, big house. He had 3 cars, a Hummer, he had an S-Class Mercedes, and he had a Lexus SUV. So I thought, man, this guy's a baller. This guy's a millionaire. So back then, a millionaire was a big deal. So I said, wow, what is this guy doing? Yeah. And then this guy, what also excited me to learn from him, be like him, was that this guy had chicks all the time. Like, he always had hot chicks. And I'm like, damn. And then he would sleep around with his workers.
Yeah.
He would go out with his assistants, his agents, because he owned a mortgage company, real estate company. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, this guy gets to go out with all his employees. And I'm like, and then also outside girls.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, this sounds like the life I always wanted, because I grew up watching Luis Miguel.
Yeah.
You know Luis Miguel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a stud. Yeah. He always had the hottest girls. So that's what I wanted for the rest of my life. Just hot girls, have fun, go to clubs. And so this guy really excited me, and I'm like, I want to be like this guy. So that means I have to get in mortgage.
Yeah.
So I was more excited to see him than to be with my girl that I was dating.
Right.
So I would always I would tell her, hey, take me to the house of your brother's house. Like, I want to go and learn from him. So the guy told me, like, hey, read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then once you read that book, then come back, and if you want to work here, I'll hire you, and you could be one of my loan officers. So I did that, and I started studying for my test, and at the same time, I had a teacher assistant job in Toluca Lake Elementary. So I was a teacher assistant there, and I was taking my classes for real estate, and I was just doing everything, and I got into real estate. And that was my first job, my first sales job.
Nice. Man, that's amazing how you started, like, going a different direction.
Yeah.
But the funny part is that, I mean, you wanted to be like Luis Miguel, so you got this job and being around girls. Not even about caring about your girlfriend, but you were looking more like down the road, like trying to learn something different.
I never wanted to get married.
Yeah.
Like, I've never wanted to get married. Like I just wanted to have girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like I told my mom even my mom and my dad would tell me, don't get married. Like, don't get married. Just, go
How
out
old
on
were you
dates.
back then?
19, 18, 19, 19.
Yeah.
But then what really made me go for real estate was one day I got sick and tired of being at IHOP in the mornings.
Yeah.
Because I would be at IHOP in the mornings with my friend Johnny, which I saw last week for the first time, like in, I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah.
And we just caught up from where we left off. We used to go out a lot and party and things like that. So I remember that we were always on the wrong side of the IHOP. We were sitting there broke. We met in college, so we were broke college students that were there broke at IHOP because we were hungover from going out the day before, the night before. And then I would always see different guys that would get there with a hot chick, and they were also hungover, but they were going to IHOP. But with the hot chick and an S-Class Mercedes or a BMW 750, and I'm like, and a nice Rolex, I'm like, wait, these guys are also young, but they're rich, and they have a hot chick and a nice car and a Rolex. We're here brokes, like we're brokies, and back then that word didn't exist yet. But we're there brokies and at IHOP with no money, no girls, no car, no nothing. And I'm like, what are we doing wrong? And then I realized, man, these guys do real estate. So we got to get into real estate. And then with the girl I was dating with, that she connected me with the brother. I'm like, hey, I'm going into real estate, and there's no looking back. And then I committed to it, because everything I do, I commit to it. Like I commit to it, and then I figure it out.
So you drop out of college because of this position?
Yeah.
And you went all in on
real estate.
Loan officer?
Well, real estate. I started as a realtor, and then I realized how horrible it is to be a real estate agent. You have to do open houses. You have to carry signs in the heat. You get all sweaty. Then you're driving around town, traffic, and then you have to convince clients to buy a house, sell a house, and then they hand over the deal to a loan officer who sits in the AC room, is comfortable, having a nice mojito, qualifying the client, scanning papers, or assistant scans them, and then they just do everything through a computer, and they're not relaxed AC, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't want to do real estate. I hated this. I hated carrying signs, getting all sweaty. I said, and I'm good in math, so I'm just gonna do a loan officer. I'm gonna become a loan officer, and I'm gonna just make all the realtors my friends. And I'm going to get all their mortgages, and I'm going to make money, and I'm going to get business from all of them. And then they're like working hard to get the deals. And I thought it was a no-brainer. So I said, I'm just going to get into mortgages, because back then you needed the same license for both. So if you had a real estate license, you could do mortgage or real estate. So I don't know. Some people might like doing real estate more than being inside an office because they like being outdoors. But for me, it was a no-brainer. I'm just going to be indoors, AC all the way. I'm going to get loans from the realtors, and I'm going to make money like that.
Yeah.
So I thought it was more intelligent that way.
That's crazy. How did you met Sylvia? Sorry.
Sil.
Yeah, Sil.
So when I started in mortgage, I did real estate for a couple months, and then I just started doing mortgage. Yeah. So my first month doing mortgages, I closed 4 loans my first month. 4 loans, and and I made 16 grand. So they were paying me a low split. Yeah. But I made 16 grand versus I was making $900 a month. So I went from $900 a month to making 16 grand a month.
Damn.
My first month. Yeah. Because they were paying me $9 an hour. And it was just like a shit show job. I was getting paid $50 a day. Yeah. And then after taxes and all my expenses, my net was like $15 a day. Gee. So I was driving around town, and it was just a waste of time. And then I was having to buy $1 menu in McDonald's. So I would buy the $1
dollar menu.
Yeah, the $1 fries, $1 soda, and the $1 chicken nuggets. Yeah, or the $1 cheeseburger. Sometimes I think they had a cheeseburger for $1. That's what I would eat, and it was just horrible. So then that's why I just decided, hey, I'm gonna get into mortgages, and I'm gonna stick to this. Then I just started making more money. But I started when the real estate industry was booming. Yeah. So for those people that are not, they don't know real estate, understand it quite good. Real estate has 7-8 years, sometimes more, sometimes less, of easy years, easy times. And they always come up with the easiest loans. It starts getting very easy, very easy. It gets to a point when the bubble just burst. Yeah. And then 2023 happens.
Was that in 2008?
Yeah, well, last year was worse than 2008. Yeah. So there hasn't been a year worse in real estate and mortgage since 1995. If you look at the data, more homes were sold last year than 2008.
Yeah.
So you have to go all the way back to 1995 for a year worse than last year. So right now the times are different. So there's less homes being sold, and it's a different reason why, because right now people have 2% rates, 3% rates. They don't want to sell.
Yeah.
And then people don't want to buy because the rates are too high. People think the market's going to crash, which it did last year.
Right.
So now it is a good time to buy because things are going to get better moving forward. The worst was last year. But people that don't study the history, because history repeats, they don't understand that. So I understood that. But 2008 happened to me because I got into it right at the peak. Boom. Yeah. So I started partying, going out. And I was going out Monday through Sunday. Yeah. Like if you needed somebody to go out with, it was Albert.
Yeah.
Like I had the best parties, bottle service, all the best girls in my table. So I was the party guy. Like if somebody wanted a place to go out on Sundays, call Albert.
Yeah.
Like did somebody ask you for Albert? But I did all that. And then on one of my outings, I went to this club called Spice in West Covina on the exit, on the 10th exit in Barranca, next to an In-N-Out.
Yeah.
And that's where I met Sil at the club.
Yeah.
I remember she was 21. She was 21 and I was 24.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies, he told me, hey, look, you got to talk to this girl. She's wearing this white dress and she has nice legs. And I go there and we met. Yeah. Then we started talking in In-N-Out, and that's how we met.
Nice. So what got you to start all these companies? Like, what drives you?
I'm just crazy.
Yeah.
I'm crazy. I don't know how to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started a mortgage company. So then I had an idea. Hey, what if we do also a real estate company? Because if you sell real estate, you need mortgage. So then I thought, oh, you know what? I had all these clever ideas. I said, well, I'm going to start a real estate company, but I'm going to offer realtors 100% commission. So I started promoting that, and it worked to bring some realtors.
Right.
But then it didn't work because we were negative. We were negative every month because we were collecting very little, a small fee. We couldn't run the business. We couldn't expand.
Yeah.
And then we would get fines, and then we'd get lawsuits, and then we were like super negative. So I'm like, this model doesn't work. You know, like I got to figure it out. But I was winging it, so I didn't understand it. So we were getting a few mortgages, but it just wasn't working out. And then I said, I need to get more attention to give more value and to bring more people. Right. So then I started investing in mentors, which is huge for me. If anybody here is watching this, invest in mentors. Like if you have 50 grand, invest those 50 grand.
Right.
Invest those last 30,000. Invest the last $5,000 that you have to buy information, to get the blueprint, to save time, to avoid making those big $1 million mistakes. Because it's okay to make the little mistakes. Yep. But the big $1 million mistakes that will put you out of business and put a lot of pressure on your family is not worth it. So I always invest in mentorships, and that's what I did. And Grant Cardone and Patrick Bet-David were one of my two first mentors.
Right.
And they told me that money follows attention, and that you should always have a videographer filming you at all times, because that's what they were doing 10 years ago. And that's when I said, you know what, we're going to start Driven, and we're going to copy 10X. And I'm gonna copy Patrick and Grant, how they film everything, they put a lot of content. And I said, if I do this through social media, I'll get more exposure, which will help me recruit agents, will help me get more sales, and it'll make me more influential. So that's why I did that.
How impactful do you think it's mentors, the success in your business been?
100%. I spent over $7 million in mentorships.
Wow, it's a lot.
Maybe 8. Yeah.
Yeah. I barely spent maybe $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you never stop learning. I mean, a single Driven event cost me $1 million.
Yeah.
And we're going on Driven 8. This is not even counting the Driven Business Bootcamp. And all the speakers that I paid, that's investing in self-improvement, because every time I invest in a speaker, I tell them, hey, I'm going to pay you a little bit extra, but I want a one-on-one mentorship.
Right.
I want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I do podcasts, you have to do in person because you get more value and you build a relationship. I also want to do like an Instagram live.
Yeah.
Or whatever existed back then. But I always say, I'll pay you a little bit more, but I want to get a one-on-one mentorship in you. So then I pay them, but then I go there, like, for example, like I go in person to meet Patrick Bet-David for hours. I go in person to meet John Maxwell for hours. I paid a lot of money to go see Grant Cardone for hours, and that is the key to building a relationship that powerful, because most people ask me, Albert, your superpower is networking. How do you build these relationships? I pay them. I buy them. I pay them for their time.
Right.
But when I pay them for their time, I'm not going to do it through Zoom, because you don't connect through Zoom the way you connect in person. So when you go there in person, you become friends, and then that builds, and that's how you create those relationships. You got to pay to play. Most people don't want to pay.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. Yeah, when I started growing, when I started investing in mentorship, I think my first mentor that I got was Brandon Dawson. When I went to
that guy's awesome.
Yeah, 360. I went.
Yeah.
I paid $60,000 and for a 16-hour training, but we got a lot of value. We were like at $2 million. We came back and we just flipped.
You paid how much?
Like 60,000. Roughly.
60 or 60?
60.
60.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty penny.
Yeah, it was a all-day event, 2-day event. We came back with a lot of the systems, the processes, and they spoke about like being on stage, and I didn't understand it until I met you. So now I know that maybe the next step is doing events.
Yeah, you have to.
So you could speak one to many. So I'm gonna be having an event. I'm gonna be speaking an event on Infinite Growth with Nestor.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be there for on August 10th.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be doing that, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you get better with practice, and there's always like excitement, and you might get a little nervous, but the nervousness goes away after 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
After that, then you just let yourself go.
Yeah.
And
you fly.
Yeah. Well, the more you speak on stage, the more you get known.
Yeah.
And then that's content that you have forever. So speaking on stage, podcast, that's a big must right now for any entrepreneur.
Yeah. How impactful do you think it's going to be for your business? You think every business owner should start doing events?
every because if you have a painting business, that's your main business, right?
Yes.
So you have a painting business, and then you have a competitor that also has a painting business.
Right.
If they're just door knocking or cold calling or visiting one person at a time, how many people are they going to reach versus you speaking in stages with 1,000 people, going on podcasts that get thousands of views, building your following to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And then every day on social media, you could reach 1 million plus people versus those that are going one at a time. You're going to destroy them. You're going to get more known because money follows attention. It's the biggest currency right now. So if you focus on becoming very influential, then you're going to get all the customers. They're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go with Jonathan because this guy, he has the credibility and he's known everywhere. Like, I got to go with him. I'm going to pay more just to work with Jonathan than to go with this other person. Because remember, I always say this, the best doesn't always get paid. The most experienced doesn't always get paid. You know who gets paid? People that know you. Like, people that know you, they're going to pay you. So I always say the best and the most experienced are not the ones that get paid. The most known are the ones that get paid the most.
Right. And how do you get into all this social media attention? When do you start your social platforms? What got you into it? And like a follow-up question, how do you do it? Or do you like it? Or is something that you like doing?
80% of the stuff I do, I hate.
Yeah.
Like, I hate waking up early. I hate going to sleep late. I hate working out. I hate eating healthy. I hate paying millions of dollars a month of bills. I hate taking all the liability. I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
Like, I could sound like a...
But you don't hate champagne?
I don't really drink a lot of champagne.
Oh, no, you don't?
I use it for the videos, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all my people here like the champagne. But what got me into this and to getting known is that Grant Cardone fucking pissed me off.
Really?
He promised me for 2 years, you're going to speak on stage. And he said, you got to, and this is because I invested a lot of money in him. Like, I paid him at least over $500,000, maybe $600,000.
Wow.
Combined with everything I paid him.
And that was back in 10 years ago.
Then 10 years ago, yeah.
It's a lot of money.
And then this guy, that's like maybe
2 million.
Two
right
million
now?
now. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So, and I maxed out my credit cards I would just give him all my money, and we became pretty close. I'm his best apprentice.
Yeah.
100% for sure. He'll admit it.
Yeah.
And so he was. I was his mentee, and he was my mentor. And then he told me, when you make $1 million, you could speak on stage. And I said, okay. So I made my first $1 million. And I went to him all excited. Hey, Grant, I made $1 million, Grant. And he's like, nah, not yet. He's like, you gotta, you know how he talks. He's like, yeah, no. You gotta make millions, man. You gotta make millions.
Yeah.
And then I came back the next year and I said, hey, I broke 2 million, so I made millions.
Yeah.
And I was all excited. Hey, I made millions, Grant. It's my turn to speak.
Yeah.
And he said, nah, man, nah. You can't, no, not yet. And he's like, he told me something that pissed me off.
Yeah.
And he said, even though you make more money than most of the speakers on this stage, this is the Growth Con 2. And I have a text message from Jared where it's in writing. And he says, and they tell me that. He says, even though you make more money than most of the speakers, you don't have an audience.
Shit.
and that's kind of like you're Mexican, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like sometimes there's dangerous boxers that can sell tickets. So they're really dangerous and they're better, but nobody wants to fight them because they're dangerous and they're not good for ticket sales because they're just not popular.
Right.
And so he basically told me like, hey, these guys here, they don't make a lot of money. They're just influencers, but they have a big following. So I learned, and thanks Grant Cardone for this.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at him, by the way. Like, he pissed me off back then, but I appreciate him because I learned a lot from him. And the biggest lesson here was, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how pretty you are, how handsome you are, how fit you are, how intelligent you are, how much experience you have, if nobody knows you, because then nobody pays you. So I went out. I left the place all pissed off. I went on my flight, and I came back to L.A., and I was drinking on the airplane. Like, I was pissed off, and I was just drinking. I think I had like some Cuba Libres.
Yeah.
And I had quite a few. And I get home. I get home really late because I had a night flight. And I arrive. We used to live across the street in the Shoreham Towers. And we get there. I get home. And I remember I tell Sil, we have Italia who's like newborn.
Yeah.
And I tell her, hey, you know what? We got to start our own event. So we're going to start our own event. And because I was thinking to myself, this is the only way I'm going to speak on stage. So I tell her, we're going to start our own event. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And so what's going to be the name? Where are we going to have it?
Yeah.
I tell her, well, let me take a shower really quick because, I just came from the plane.
Yeah.
Let me take a shower, freshen up. I go to the fridge, grab a Peroni beer, and I take a shower, and I put my YouTube. Yeah. And I put Patrick Bet-David. I'm listening to YouTube, Patrick Bet-David Valuetainment. And then there's this video that he keeps on saying, drive, 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 drive.
Yeah.
And that stuck to my head. So I come out of the shower, and I'm like, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, babe, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, well, what's the name? And I said, Drive. It's a drive event. Yeah. And then she says, I don't like that name. I don't like it. And then I say, well, okay, let's make it Driven. It's at an N.
Yeah.
So we make it Driven. And then she's like, yeah, I like that name. I'm like, yeah. And then she says, well, where are we going to have it? And I said, well, at the Ritz-Carlton in L.A., downtown L.A. And she's like, are you crazy? That place is going to be expensive. And how much time do we need? And at this time, we're paycheck to paycheck. Yes, we're making, a few million.
Yeah. How many companies you had back then?
3. No, two.
Yeah.
Ambiance Realty and the mortgage guys.
Yeah.
So this was the birth of Driven.
Yeah.
So then I tell her, well, if Grant Cardone planned his first 10X in 3 months, then I can plan it and do it in 3 months. If Grant Cardone did it, I could do it.
Yep.
Like, he's no better than me.
Yep.
So I said, we're going to do it in 3 months. So then I just committed, number one step. And then I told her, well, we're going to figure it out now. So then, long story short on that one, I went to my best buddy at the time, and I asked him, hey, buddy, let's start an event together. And I offered him 50-50. I said, hey, you could be 50% owner of this company. And then we could go 50-50. And so we need $25K deposit for Grant, and we need $25K deposit for the Ritz, because that was just a deposit.
Yeah.
Because I hired Grant as my first speaker. and you know that's the Grant over there. So then I told my best buddy,
The red Ferrari.
let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. And he said no, I can't do it. You don't have any experience. You're not a speaker. Too much of a risk. And so he said no, And then I said, okay, well, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I went back and I told Sil, well, we're gonna do it. So I put $25K that I had in the bank. So I'm back to zero because that's all I had in the bank, $25K company reserves. And then I used a credit card, which all of them were pretty much maxed out. And I used $25K on my credit card, and then I put the deposit, and so I'm like at zero.
Damn.
It's I'm my whole life has been like a struggle.
What was going through your mind at those points? Like you don't have nothing.
I was excited.
You have zero.
I was excited.
You were excited.
I was
and
excited.
You have the company's running. And
Yeah, I'm excited because when you put yourself in a really hard position, you're forced to perform.
Right.
And most people are comfortable and they never perform. So I said we're gonna make up the money because we were still the first event costed $300,000. So we were just $50,000 in. We still need $250K more.
Yeah.
So and we didn't even know. We had no idea how much. I thought, oh, it's gonna be cheap and we're gonna make it happen.
So you needed $250,000 more.
Yeah.
And you had no money.
Nothing. And we're running the mortgage company, real estate company. We don't have any reserves.
And you had 3 months.
We had 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 months. Yeah. So I said, well, we're gonna make up the money by selling tickets. So I said it's gonna be easy. Like I always think everything's gonna be easy, and then I figure it out. But
you're like, you tell CEO, figure it out.
Yeah, well, it's because they don't do the sales though. I do the sales. I do all the sales. Yeah. Without sales, there's no business. So when that happened, I said, well, I thought because we had Grant Cardone, I said, well, tickets are just gonna sell by themselves. We're gonna sell it out, and that didn't happen. So 48 hours later, I don't get a ticket sale. Not one. So I'm like, it's been 2 days.
Oh, you didn't have any attention, right? Back then?
No, nothing.
Yeah.
So like Grant Cardone's not promoting the event. He's promoting his 10X event.
Right.
So like nobody's promoting it, and I'm like, what's going on? It's not working out. So I'm already getting down, and I tell Sil, hey, let's go to Bart and G right here in La Cienega, and let's go to dinner. We go to dinner, and I was like, no ticket sales. It's almost 48 hours. Like, what's going on? Did I make another mistake? Like. And then we're at dinner, and I get a notification. Like I hear the little bell on my phone, and it says, "Sale super VIP ticket, $2,000." So I'm like, damn. Now I'm $2,000 less in the hole. Yeah. So now I only need $248K. I didn't even know how much money I needed because it's my first event.
Right.
I didn't know it was going to be $300,000. We went over budget. It was a disaster, but that sale gave me hope. And I said, man, a sale came in. Mm-hmm. So after that, I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I started doing lives like every day, going live. I'm talking about, this was 2016.
Right.
And I'm going live. It was actually 2017. Mm-hmm. So I'm going live, and I start selling tickets like that. Yeah. And I just keep doing it. At the same time, I'm running the mortgage company, the real estate company, and we're just doing everything. And we have just one baby girl, and she's like 6 months or so. And we're just doing it. We're just forced to do it. And then one thing I believe in is that if you're not growing, then you're dying. So that's what keeps me pushing. Like, I want more. And I always put myself in those situations that force me to grow.
How many followers do you have back then when you were in 2017?
I think Sil had more followers than me. I had like 400 followers, and she had like 1,000.
And you were still selling at 400 followers?
Well, when I went to the Growth Con, I paid Grant $40,000 for him, and I put it on the credit card. I paid him $40,000. I put 50% on one credit card, and then I used 50% on one of Sil's credit cards.
Yeah.
And I paid $40,000 for 40 seconds.
40 seconds?
40 seconds, damn. Yeah. Because I had like 400.
So it was like $1,000 a second?
Yeah. I had like 400-ish followers. Yeah. And Sil had, I think, like 1,500 or so. Yeah. And this is back then. This is 2016. And then I tell Grant, Jared, I said, hey, Jared, I want to be a sponsor. Oh, we don't have any sponsors, because it was their first event. They didn't believe in sponsors. They wanted to get all the attention for their companies.
Right.
And I said, come on, we're friends, man. I've invested so much money in you guys. Like I'm Grant's guy. Let's put let me sponsor. All I need is like a few seconds.
Yeah.
Just put my face, picture my face, put my email and my cell phone number, and then put that I'm gonna pay all the realtors in this room 100% commission. I thought it was a genius idea.
Yeah.
And I tell him, just ask Grant how much. Just let's do it. Come on. And so he goes back to Grant. He comes back and he's like, 40K. And we'll put your thing up there.
Yeah.
And he said a minute, but he only did 40 seconds. So he went up there and he put it, and I had I had all the jumbo screens, like 3 of them, 3 big ones with my face, my phone number, and my email. And he said, hey, Albert's going to pay all of the realtors here 100% commission. Go reach out to Albert. Go follow him. And that got me like 1,500 followers that same night. And so I surpassed Seal in followers that day.
Yeah.
So from there on, I started growing it. But I had a few thousand followers when we started promoting Driven. So that
was a little
shows
bit,
you how long
so
it took.
was super hard, to get all this.
But I was still pushing hard though.
Yeah.
So even if I had 2 viewers on the live, I would sell one of them.
So how do you get all the speakers? Because you got Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
And how you get all the other speakers?
When you get a big name speaker,
yeah,
others want to speak there for less money or for free.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, well, I want to be on the same stage as a Grant Cardone. So I got Grant Cardone. That was the first Driven event.
Mm-hmm.
We got Grant Cardone, and then I got Brad Lee to come.
Yeah.
And then I got Tim Story, and then I had a few other like people that I added to the lineup, which weren't that known, weren't that successful, but they were good enough, and they wanted to be part of the event because we had big names, and that's how I got them. Elena Cardone also spoke because I got her in the package.
Oh, so you got two for one?
Yeah, 2 for 1. But back then they weren't expensive. Back then Grant Cardone was like 50K. Yeah. Now he's like $250,000 or more.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. That's crazy.
But that's one thing that I do for the events. I always get speakers on their way up.
Yeah.
Like, for example, David Goggins. I heard he charges $500,000 now.
Jeez.
I got him under 40.
So how do you choose all these speakers? How do you know they're going to be the next up and coming?
I handpick them. And I'm a little selfish.
Yeah.
I pick speakers that I want to get close to me. Right. I get speakers that I want to learn from them. Mm-hmm. So like in 2019, the market, it's a little challenging. It's always been, you always have ups and downs, but it's getting challenging. And this is like right before COVID. It was just a weird time. And I remember like I need somebody to, even though I have a strong mindset, even though like I have a few superpowers, I said I want my mindset to be strong. So then I'm like, who's the best in mindset right now? Who do I want to spend one-on-one time and learn? I'm going to pay them for them to speak at Driven, but who can I learn from right now? So right. I think about David Goggins. Yeah. So I reached out to David Goggins. I had a really strong, I've always had a strong circle of influence. So I call all my friends, hey, do you guys know David Goggins? No. Do you know David Goggins? No. Do you know David Goggins? I don't, but I know somebody that does, that could connect you with him. I'm like, okay, cool. Connect me. They connect me to David Goggins. We negotiate a deal. I get one-on-one time with him. We do a podcast in person. Yep. He speaks on stage, and it was a slam dunk deal. Yeah. And I got it for a fraction of what he charges now. And I went to his apartment where he used to live in New York, and we spent a lot of time together, like half a day right there.
Damn.
And it was like an awesome experience. And there's still, like, if you watch the podcast, we did a podcast 2019. It got a lot of views, but I was able to learn and get him on his way up for a fraction of the price.
Yep. How do you know he was up and coming?
Oh, because I studied him and I asked around and I asked my circle of influence. Yeah. And back then he had 1 million followers. Now he has like, I don't know, 13 million or so.
Yeah.
But I knew he was the up and coming star, and my circle of influence told me, hey, this guy's the next up and coming star. Yeah. When people refer you somebody, especially big names, powerful people, then you that's the power of your circle. Mm-hmm. Like if you get referrals from not the most intelligent people, not the most successful people, or from complainers, negative people, you're probably not going to get a powerful referral. So right. I always watch the source of my advice. I tell people, hey, watch the source of your advice. Yeah. If there's somebody powerful and they're living the life that you want, right. Listen to their referrals, listen to their advice. But if people are way under you, why would you listen to their advice?
Right. You talk about the circle of influence. How do you get that circle of influence? Because I know you're like one of the guys that I know that knows the most people, the most influencers, the most speakers. Like you're pretty known by like anyone. Like you call anyone on your cell phone, they answer the first call. It's kind of crazy.
You gotta pay. You gotta pay. You gotta buy them. You gotta pay to play.
So you pay all of your
in the beginning.
Friends. Yeah.
In the beginning. So in the beginning, I bought my friends.
Right.
I bought my friends, and then once you buy your friends, then they'll refer you to their friends.
Right. And you buy your other friends.
Mm-hmm. And then you get to a point where now people want to buy you.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's good to know. How do you manage all these companies?
I hire people to do it for me.
Because right now you have over, I know about 8 companies.
Mm-hmm. We have 5.
5?
Mm-hmm.
5, okay.
5, but we have other companies below them, yeah.
Connected.
So like combined, I mean, I don't know, we could have like 20 small branches, businesses, but we have 5 corporations.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, I hire people to run them. I don't manage, I don't operate. There's a really good book called what is called Rocket Fuel.
Yeah.
That everybody should read, because in order to scale a business, you need an operator. I'm not an operator. Mm-hmm. So you got to hire an operator to operate your businesses. Your job is to be the influence, to be the visionary, to be the driver that drives revenue, that recruits, that makes the sales, the connections, the networking, the growth, the scale. But if you have an operator, a solid one, then they could operate your businesses or business, depending on how many businesses you have. So Sil is the CEO for all of them, and I let her handle operations. My job is just to be the CEO, the visionary, and to make sure that the revenue is coming in.
Yep. How do you, because I work with my wife too, but how do you manage to work with Sil? You guys don't fight a lot? Like
we fight all the time, every day.
Is there any like friction?
All the time, every day.
How do you guys separate like business and personal life and
It's one of the hardest battles.
Yeah.
But I keep my I focus on my roles, and she focuses on her roles. The only rule we have is we can't disrespect each other.
Yeah.
So we won't we won't disrespect each other, never, but we call ourselves out.
Right.
And this is personal and business. So if she gains a little bit of weight, I tell her, hey, you're getting fat. Get back in shape. This is not how we met. Right. I stay in shape. You should stay in shape. If she sees me slacking off, hey, you're not being as disciplined as you should be. Like you're not prospecting. You're not in the trainings. You're not doing your lives. You're not doing your podcast. You're not promoting the company enough. She'll call me out on my shit.
Yeah.
But she also respects my role as a visionary, and I respect her role as the integrator, because her job is to operate, and my job is to make sure that the sales and the revenue and that all the bills are paid. So I stay in my lane, she stays in her lane. But yeah, we argue all the time. We argue every day. We don't agree with everything every day.
Yeah.
But we just have to keep the respectfulness in place.
Right. How do you find time to spend time with your kids? Because I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
So I barely spend time with them, but I do spend quality time. So I work like 16, 15, 17 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And whenever I'm home. I leave my phone away and I'm there for a few hours. Obviously, it's not an everyday thing, but I mean, I try to spend time with them. But how do you manage running all these businesses and coming back to your house, and what does that look like?
Well, I've been working 18 hours a day for over a decade. Probably 2 decades.
Right.
Because even when I was 19, 20, I was still working. I was still partying, but I was still working a lot. Yeah. I've always been very, very ambitious. But 12 years ago, we started our first business that we own. And you don't balance. Like, you just make everything work. You do everything, and you try to do your best. I'm the first one to say that I'm not perfect. So I'm not the perfect father. I'm not the perfect husband. I'm not the perfect son, but I try really hard to improve every day. And when I'm at home, I try to put my phone down sometimes to be with my daughters, but sometimes I can't help it, and I get a solid qualified lead, and I have to close the lead, and I tell my girls, hey, I got to take this call. This person wants to join the company. It's a qualified person. Or, hey, this person wants to wire me 6 figures. I got to take the call. Because without money, you can't take care of your kids.
Right.
So I'm still trying to figure that part out. But I do try to like, hey, you know what? Sometimes I force myself. I'm gonna put my phone down for a little bit. We're gonna be here with Mickey Mouse in Disneyland VIP. I get the VIP tour for them, and I give them what I never had as a kid. You know, I give them more. But at the same time, I'm not perfect. But every day I work hard to get better at it.
Right. That's amazing. So how do you find your purpose, or what's your purpose with all these things you're going?
My purpose is to be the greatest ever to live on this planet.
Yeah.
Like I want to be bigger than Abraham Lincoln, George Washington. I want to be bigger than Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King. Like I just believe in being the number one.
Right.
Like I don't believe in being number two. So I think big, and people will probably make fun of me, and people will criticize me, but I don't care. Like I just want to be the greatest. Like I want to be the greatest, and I want 2,500 for people to still know who Albert was, just like they know who those greats are.
Right.
I want people to be like, hey, you know what, Albert? Albert is the guy that you know how there's airlines.
Yeah.
And you have Delta Airline, and I think I told you this before, but the owner of Delta Airlines, do you know who they are?
I don't remember. No.
What about the owner CEO of United Airlines?
I don't know.
What about Spirit? What about Virgin?
Nope.
So Virgin, the Virgin Airlines, the owner is Richard Branson.
Yeah.
Have you heard about him? You ever heard about him?
I have, yeah.
So
slightly.
Yeah, so Richard Branson is a multi-billionaire. He lives in his island, and he created Virgin Airlines. So Virgin Airlines, it went on to become a huge brand.
Yeah.
Where they have a lot of Virgin products. So just how he created Virgin, I'm going to be the Mexican that creates Driven Airlines, Driven Mortgage, Driven Real Estate, Driven Escrow, Driven everything, and it's going to be a huge product. And then one day in 2,500, who knows? Maybe there's like, now we have spaceships, but we're gonna have like the driven spaceship, or we're gonna have like driven helicopters, driven air. I don't know, something like that. But they're gonna remember, like the grandchildren of my grandchildren. They're gonna say like, "Hey, was Albert like your grandfather?"
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be like, "Yeah, that's my grand papa, like Albert."
Yeah.
Italia, they're gonna ask her later when she's 80, and I'm already like, I mean, hopefully I'm still here, but they're gonna ask her, hey, that was your dad, huh? That created driven air or all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I want to last here like beyond my lifetime, and remembered for centuries to come, if not 1,000 or thousands of years. Because I created something big that changed the world. And that's why I do live so often, because my commitment is to communicate with 8 billion people in this world. Because I want to make, and what I say is, it's not, I'm not showing off or being arrogant that I want to be better than these people. I just want to make an impact in this world bigger than anything. So like, that's what drives me. That's my purpose. That's why I never get tired.
Yeah. So where are you going to be in the next 10 years, let's say?
In the next 10 years, I'm gonna be for sure a multi-billionaire, and I'm probably gonna be working on a $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take all the people with me.
Right.
That were loyal, that believed in our core values, that stayed till the end, and we're gonna sell some of our companies for a lot of money. Everybody's gonna get their piece that they earned. And then we're going to go out there and create new businesses, new ventures that are going to impact the world. Because everything we do, we want to make sure that we are impacting the world. Just thinking USA is not big enough. We got to think global. So how do you go global? You got to get on social media. And I'm a big studier. Like I like to study and self-improve. And if you do your research, there used to be 5 billion people on social media. Now there's 5.07. So now we're going on 5.1, and it's growing rapidly because every day we have 411,000 people that join social media. Every single day that I go on social media on those streams, like I get new business owners that start following me, and those business owners are changing the world. Like the world is going to be changed by entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I like helping entrepreneurs grow. I'm really proud of what you're doing and growing your company. So people like you, like that's what motivates me. That's what drives me to keep on getting better and keep on being so aggressive.
I love it. Yeah, I love the way you think, and you motivate me myself too, because like I never thought I was gonna be on social media, and now like I'm going on like 4 or 5 months already. I'm all in, posting daily, and then I just follow your steps, whatever you're doing. The only thing I'm not doing is the lives, but other than that, I'm doing the posting, and we're doing the podcast, and hopefully next year we can throw the first event and then do something.
Yeah, but when are you gonna do it?
When am I going to do it? It's probably going to be next year, not on November, because Sylvia said it's going to be busy those days. So maybe like June or something next year.
The next year is 2025.
2025, yeah.
Why not this year?
Why not? Because I'm not fully committed. I do have the blueprint that you guys gave us, but I don't know. Sometimes it's fear, I guess.
Just do it. Just do it like late summer.
Or not fear, but like we don't have the resources. But maybe just commit.
You could start with a micro event.
Yeah.
Like just maybe it could be 100 people.
Right.
And you could do it. You could do it with a hotel that gives you a good deal. Keep the costs low, and you don't have to invest in like the all the production, AV lighting, or none of that. You could just keep it light.
Yeah.
And you could throw a micro event, like a small one, and you could put it on a credit card. You could apply for business credit. I don't know if you have that, but you have a good business. You'll get qualified like this for a credit line. Use the credit line to fund the event.
Right.
That way you don't use your cash, and then you sell tickets. You sell the next event, and then you regain that money. You pay back the money you borrowed, and you make a little bit of money. But the whole thing is you're going to be promoting yourself, growing your personal brand, and you got to be willing to invest $1 to make $1.
Right. So maybe I take that back. Maybe not fear, but I don't have the resources or maybe I do have the resources, but the knowledge. Maybe now that if I have like a checklist or someone.
Oh, we'll give you the checklist.
To guide me, then maybe that's a different story.
She'll give you that.
Yeah. Oh, she did. I just gotta like put it together.
I'll help you promote it. So when do you want to do it?
We need to talk about it.
All right. So I think late summer is a good
late summer?
Yeah, late summer.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to be in that Infinite Growth August 10th, and then maybe Christopher is going to be hosting an event, so I'll probably be speaking there as well. And then I'm doing like on July, I'm going to be speaking in front of 500 students.
So you need your event now. That way you can promote your event.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I can't commit, but we look into it.
What do you guys think? When should he do the event?
September.
What if September's a good date?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see.
So September. So you next time I see you, you're gonna give me the date.
Right. Okay. We can talk about it. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
September 21st, Saturday.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a mastermind or something.
Well,
something.
A micro event.
Yeah, micro event.
It's a small event.
Something simple. Yep.
Grant Cardone's first event was 35 people. I was one of those. I went to Cancun for that.
How was that?
It was just like a small event, but that's where I started.
Yeah.
So it was nothing crazy, and he did it at the Hard Rock, all inclusive. So you don't even have to spend money on. See right there, you don't even have to spend money on food or drinks. Food and beverages are free.
All right.
So you could do something like that, but that was his first one, and then that opened his eyes. Like, damn, this could be bigger. So like we all started where we are, and we just have to commit, because I think most people, they're just scared to commit, and with commitment is the first step to success.
Right. Okay, let's commit. What platform do you think it's the best to focus on?
Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's better than YouTube?
Well, yes, but YouTube is like the second best.
Yeah.
And you could argue because the wealthy people are going to be on YouTube, and the others are going to be on all the other ones.
Right.
But Instagram is very powerful. So YouTube is a must, because that's where people like me and you, I think that's where we spend time, because like I was watching a podcast interview earlier today, and it was two powerful people that did a 1 hour interview. So I wanted to listen in and learn something from it. because you're going to learn something from like a podcast that's 1 hour.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn much from a TikTok that's 30 seconds or from somebody like dancing around and being annoying. Like Sil showed me this video. She's like, I want you to do a video like this. And it's this like guy that's not even successful jumping over a car and acting like silly.
Yeah.
And like all like a funny joke. And I'm like, I'm not a little kid doing funny jokes or wiggling my butt.
She wanted you to do that?
Yeah, she's like, oh, this is cool. It's gonna get you views. I'm like, look,
Yeah.
that's not me. Like, I'm not gonna be jumping on the car and smiling and jiggling my butt. Like, I'm not gonna be doing I'm not a kid. I'm not an influencer.
Right.
That kind of influencer, at least. I'm a business influencer. I'm like a mindset, powerful, hardworking guy. Like, I'm very blunt. I tell it how it is. I'm not a dancer on TikTok. So what I'm saying is that like me and you are not going to go to TikTok to learn our business information. Right. We're probably going to go to YouTube. So YouTube is powerful, and Instagram is very powerful when it comes to making sales. Right. On TikTok, I find that it's mostly a younger crowd that doesn't have money to buy products. But you got to be everywhere, like Twitter, TikTok, X, Threads, and all those platforms, because you're gonna get they're gonna find you there, and then they're gonna go to your Instagram, and then they're gonna go to your YouTube, Facebook Shorts, LinkedIn. So you just want to be on all the platforms so that more people find you. The more, the better. Because sometimes someone will find me on TikTok, and they'll be like, "Oh, I found you on TikTok. Oh, I found you on YouTube." So that's why when I go live, I make sure that I have 7 different platforms live at the same time. That way I 7x my return. And I'm not just relying on just Instagram.
Yeah, I think I found you on TikTok. And you sent me a message on Instagram.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
But so it's powerful, because I learned that from seeing Grant. Yeah. I saw him that he would go live. He was going live every day. For a while, he went live every day. Yeah. For 1 hour, sometimes more. And I said, well, if he was going 1 hour live every day for that time, because I study the history, I study the past. Yeah. I said, well, I could do 2 lives in one day. So I started going twice. Now I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go a little longer. I might even do 3 lives if I have time. Right. Because if you don't have appointments one day, which it happens, why not go live again? What are you going to do? Are you just going to chill? So like, I don't like chilling. I just like the output. The more the output and the more the activity level is, the more chances you're going to get on closing a big sale. Just like the numbers game. If you're single, you're going out and you don't go out often, the output, the activity is not going to be there. But if you go out every day, then you're going to have more output, more activity. You're going to find somebody to date. Now, if you're going out and if you don't track what you're doing, it's very easy. If you go to a club and the ratio is 90-10, 90% men and 10% women, chances are you're not going to find the woman of your dreams.
1 to 10.
But if you go to a higher end club that maybe is more exclusive and the ratio is like 80-20, 80% females, 20% males, you're going to have a higher chance. So you got to start tracking the way you track your personal and the things you like to do for fun. You got to track your business. What is giving me the best results? What is not giving me the results? And focus, triple down on the things that are giving you the best results. Right. So that's what I do all the time. And I find what works and I just triple down on it.
Right. That's good insights. Any insights on podcasting?
Podcasts pay to be on the best podcast, because you want to be on the best podcast, because then you're going to get outside new followers that are going to start following you because they find you. A lot of people tell me, I found you on Bradley's podcast, Dropping Bombs. Right. I found you on the Wolf of Wall Street's podcast. And people just tell me, hey, I found you on Money Monday. So there's always like people that are telling me, I found you here, I found you there. So you got to pay to be on those. And then eventually they'll pay you to be on the podcast. Right. And then also you got to start your podcast just as an excuse. Hey, you want to be on my podcast? And then people are going to be like, yeah, I want to be on your podcast, because who doesn't like talking about themselves? Right. You interview people and you're going to have them. They're going to be happy. But then people are going to start saying, well, wait, how many viewers do you get? Is your podcast worthy of me being there? Because you don't have many subscribers yet. But that's why you got to start it sooner than later, because you will get subscribers. And then you pay people to be on your podcast that have a lot of followers, because then that grows your subscribers, your followers. So what I say over and over again, you have to pay to play. You have to be willing to pay to play, because if you don't, others will, and others will even put it on credit. And then they're still investing, but they're making it back. Even if they break even, they're gaining more followers, more subscribers, and you're not. So it's very important to pay to play.
So how often do you post?
Oh, you gotta be posting 8 times a day.
No, but how often do you post? How often do you release the podcast?
I try to get out like 4 podcasts a week.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm doing once a week.
Well, that's good. At least you're doing it. Yeah. So just up it a little bit, but the whole operations, make sure the business is running.
Right.
But you're very coachable and you execute, because I told you, hey, get a full-time videographer. You did that, and you're doing the work. It's just, it takes time, so you got to be a little bit patiently aggressive. So you got to be patiently aggressive.
Yep.
You got to be aggressively, but you got to be patient.
Any like insights on how to grow your Instagram? Because I know you're like probably like more than 250,000 right now.
I'm almost at 300.
300,000.
But in the last 30 days, I gained 26,000 followers, because I've been posting 8 times a day.
Yeah.
So you got to post 8 times a day, and you got to focus on controversial videos.
Yeah, I was talking to Anthony, and he's like, "Yeah, I already have all the next videos that are gonna go viral." I'm like, "Damn, yeah."
Yeah, we call him the viral guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Maria's already thinking, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, but get your team to create controversial viral videos.
Yeah.
And you just have to be you, but just look at the videos that do good and copy those videos. Do more of that.
Right.
But then also entice your people by offering them a bonus. Like, let's say, hey, if in the first 24 hours your video that you created hits over 100K views in 24 hours, because that would be a viral video, then I'm going to give you X amount bonus. If the video hits 1 million views in 24 hours, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to give you more of a bonus. And then what I have is my team works together. So my team works with Maria, and my marketing team is their job is to create as many controversial viral videos, and then Maria's job is to select the best cover, the best trending audio, and it could be location, find a good location, and then the message of the post, like whatever you type.
Yep.
So she'll do that. They work as a team, and they have a split where she makes a percentage, they make a percentage, and they're always shooting to make controversial viral videos, because that gets you more followers. And the more followers you get, the more people you get on your lives, the more new people you get to view your stuff. And then with your CRM, you extract and collect their emails, their cell phones, and then you put them on the email campaign, you text them, and then you sell them your product.
Right. That's great.
Because remember that followers, it doesn't matter if you have 300,000 followers if you don't have their email and cell phone, because Instagram only shows it to 2% of your followers. So only 2% of the 300K are going to see your stuff. The other 98, how do you get to them? You got to create controversial videos to get new people. And when you do get them, you got to collect their email and cell phone, run some ads to collect their emails and cell phones.
How do you collect them?
You got to run ads, because when you run ads, Instagram shows it to your people that follow you. They hide your stuff from your own followers.
Right.
But when you run ads, it shows them to them and more. But then also when you're live and when you're posting and people are messaging you, tell them, hey, give me your email and cell phone. And then that goes straight to your CRM, which could be Go High Level or another CRM you use. But I like Go High Level.
Nice. Let me ask you another question, just aside from social media. Who are your top 3 mentors?
Books right now.
Books,
yeah. I like books, but I have some friends that are mentors that are very, very wealthy.
Yeah.
And so like I learn a lot from a lot of them. But I like to learn from people that built and sold companies for billions, or people that have billion-dollar companies.
Yep.
But I also like reading books because
what are some of the books that you can recommend?
There's a lot. But,
yeah. But like for like maybe just name one for starters and one for advanced people.
So the best book for starters is going to be 2 books for starters. Number 1 is going to be Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And then the other one is going to be How to Win and Influence Friends by Dale Carnegie, because that's going to show you how to close.
Okay.
It's how to sell, how to close. Somebody that's good in sales is not good enough right now.
Right.
You got to be a closer because closers get paid. Sellers, they struggle with closing.
Yeah.
So you got to be a master closer. But those two books would be good because you'll become an entrepreneur, and then you'll learn how to close the big deals. And then if you're advanced, there's a lot of good books. Principles by Ray Dalio is always a good one. Blue Ocean Strategy is always a good one for marketing. But there's like the Dawson book is a good one. The 8 Figures, I think it's called.
9-figure mindset.
Yeah. The 9-figure method.
Mindset.
Yeah. That's a good one that I recently. I'm still reading that book. I'm like halfway through it. There's a really good book by Glenn Stearns that I like. It's called Integrity.
Okay.
It shows you what kind of mindset it takes to build a big company, where you have to go through a lot of ups and downs. You go down on money. You're almost out of business, but you figure it out. But that's a really good book.
Nice. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being in my podcast. I mean, there was a lot of golden nuggets, a lot of great things that you said. I'm pretty sure we can change some lives today.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, thank you, Albert. If you want to throw all your social platforms so people can follow you, people can come into the mentorships.
No, just Google me on Google. Just Albert Preciado. Google me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Let's get it.
Yeah.